going to start off on something that's not city business, but President Obama signed the Health Care Act today, and I think that's an historic moment and something I think we should all be proud of as Americans. The fact that people who are uninsured will have health care insurance. I think it's just monumental, and just proud to be an American. When I think about the role of government, we can go back and forth. You know, I believe that government should be smart and efficient and not big, but there's three things that every American to me is entitled to. One is safety, which is a role of government. Two is to provide education for free for children, and certainly health care. So I feel very good about that. So again, in our community, there's 200,000 people who are uninsured that will have insurance going forward. I think for young adults that are under the age of 26, Gus, you're not under 26, but for adults who are under the age of 26, they'll be able to stay on their parents' insurance, which I think, again, it does a lot for our country, especially in a down economy, which makes it even that much more remarkable. Other thing I want to touch on really quickly, too, is we kicked off something called One Day to Prevent Homelessness, all part of the Sacramento Steps Forward initiative dealing with the homeless population. We asked the faith-based community to really help out and be a part of the solution. What they did starting on last Sunday, on March 21st, they went to their congregations and they asked the members of their church to donate 1 day's worth of rent or mortgage to prevent homelessness. And those dollars go to permanent housing, and they'll be able to serve up to, probably 300 to 600 people over the next 5 or 6 months. And just in 1 day, and then we did a telethon yesterday with KCRA and raised over $225,000. So we are in a very good position. Our overall goal is $400,000, and then that will leverage $1.6 million. So you're talking about $2 million that the faith community is helping us leverage, which really says a lot. Other churches are going to do it. They couldn't do it on March 21st. They're going to do it on some other Sunday between now and the end of May. So we feel very confident that we'll be able to achieve that goal. So again, these are the things that make Sacramento stand out to me. I'm proud of the citizens, the faith community, the public-private partnerships. We have some guests with us today. In the back, our senior officials from Matsuyama, our sister city. There's two here, so we want to welcome you both to Sacramento. And they're out visiting City Hall and city government, and they also work on homeless issues back in their country. So I wanted to welcome you to the city of Sacramento. This week I will be heading out to New York. I leave, I think, tonight on a red eye to New York. I'll be meeting with Commissioner David Stern and obviously updating him on the entertainment and sports complex, on what has happened, kind of where we are, the next set of issues that we need to work through, and really what the timeline looks like over the next 180 days. And certainly get his feedback and input, how he thinks that we should proceed will be most helpful. But I want to reassure him that we as a city are committed to doing everything that we can possibly do to put ourselves in the best position to have a new entertainment and sports complex in the not too distant future. I will also be meeting with the CEO of Macy's while I'm there as well. Terry Lundgren is a CEO. His office is based in New York, and part of my commitment to him is to update him on Westfield here and what we are doing as it relates to our downtown core. I think if you take a step back, it's been about 6, 8, 9 months of talking to Westfield and putting ourselves in a position where they were willing to not hold the city hostage anymore, but we're willing to step aside if we find a qualified buyer. We'll be able to update, obviously, Macy's on that. That's going to be very important to them. They have felt oftentimes like they're the Lone Ranger in the downtown plaza. That is not the Sacramento that we all envision. So I think he'll be pleased with that. When you think about the downtown core, it now includes the entertainment and sports complex, being at the rail yard, connected to intermodal. That is aligning all of our energies, I think, which is good. There'll be a lot of synergy there. But everything that we're doing is talking about job creation and economic development and revitalizing the downtown area. So just last night, we had 4 developers who submitted proposals for a 7,800 block, and they all provide a lot of promise. And when you think about it, last night, there was standing room only, and over an hour of discussion talking about the promise and the potential of K Street. That to me was really exciting as well. And we do not want to be a city that's just sitting on the sidelines or sitting on our hands. In a down economy, there are a host of things that we can do. We are open for business, and we're going to do everything that we can to position ourselves that when the market does turn around, that we're able to take advantage of those opportunities. So again, last night at the old City Hall, there were 4 proposals that we were very excited about. And then lastly, my NC2A picks. I'm a mayor that is accountable, and when it's good, I certainly want to talk about it. And when it's not good, I'm going to still show up to these pressers. So I'm going to start with round 1, where I was 25 of 32. And then round 2, 9 out of my 16 picks advanced. So a lot of mid-majors doing well, a lot of parity, a lot of upsets, but I still have a decent chance to at least win the City Hall bracket. All right, questions?
How is that search for a Westfield buyer going?
It's actually, I can't disclose all the details, but I will say we are having some interesting discussions with people who have the potential to certainly qualify as a legitimate buyer. My goal is to update, at least publicly, where we are in this process between now and the end of June. I'd like to have, again, a clear path, seems like the thing that I'm looking for these days. But I'd like to have a clear path and to make a public update before the end of June.
Do you have any fear that Macy's is going to pull out of there?
I'd have to say I believe that they have watched what has transpired over the last year and a half. And in my previous conversation with the CEO, which was probably a few months back, I let him know that we are more committed than ever, and what was going on at the downtown plaza for the last 10 or 12 years is unacceptable. And they have still managed to do well. Both of their stores have done, don't ask me how, maybe the Macy brand, they're just doing a good job. But there should be a lot more synergy, a lot more energy, and it will only get better. And sometimes you have to take a step back in order to go forward. And if he's looking on the outside and what's happening, you're talking about a new entertainment and sports complex coming downtown. You're talking about a commitment to JK and L Core. You're talking about bringing cars back on K Street. You're talking about opening up the downtown plaza. You're talking about getting the previous owner of the mall to say, hey, if you're not going to invest significantly, then you need to step aside and allow us to get somebody else who believes that Sacramento can be a world-class destination, and that downtown mall is a very important cog and all that. I think that's going to be good news for him.
Didn't Macy's though close off a couple of its floors at the downtown plaza?
Yeah, they did. I don't know exactly, but I know one of their top floor or 2, they closed off. And again, that's happening with the economy. They're still here. Both of their stores are stores that do extremely well, and it's some of their highest performing stores, which is the good news. And it's not because we get any credit, I can tell you that, but what we want to do is spur on and stimulate an environment where those stores do even better, and then at some point they'll be cutting the tape and hopefully opening the stores as well.
When was the last time you spoke with Commissioner Stern? Is this the first update you've given him since then?
No. What I do, and this is my commitment, and I think I've shared this before, my commitment to the governor, the commissioner, and the Maloofs is every month to give them a monthly update. Sometimes the conversation is a 2-minute conversation, and sometimes it's longer depending on what's transpired. So I talked to Commissioner Stern the day before the task force brought their recommendations here on that Thursday, was it the 11th? On the 11th, so I talked to him, I believe, the day before that, and then I talked to him the day after, which I believe was March, what was that, Tuesday?
16th.
March 16th. I talked to him the day that council unanimously said that we're going to look at